TIFU by exposing my parents' inside joke about Bob to Bob. I come from a gaming family. My dad, my mom, my brother, and myself are all very into video games and have been forever. My parents boast that they bought a first-gen Atari and have been avid gamers ever since. While I was growing up, my parents had this little way of teasing us. Let's say you're doing poorly in a game and you're whining and pushing the blame off like, "Oh man, something's wrong with my controller, I swear." My parents would giggle at each other and say, "Oh, so we've got a Bob controller." I can't properly convey how many times I heard joke this growing up. It was a snap response from both of them every single time we complained about our controller. "Something's wrong with the A button. Bob controller." "It's not your fault. The joystick was stuck. Bob controller." One day, I made one of my parents explain the joke. Before any of us kids were born, my mom and dad played video games with one of their couple friends, Bob and Jane. Anytime Bob would do poorly, he'd blame the controller. They thought it was hilarious. In my brain, this was all a big open joke in their friend group. "Oh, Bob, you're always blaming the controller, you rascal." I'm not so. So fast forward to present day and I'm helping my dad with a carpentry project outside. A car pulls up that I don't recognize. A couple gets out, lo and behold, it's Bob and Jane, surprised back in town after 30 years to pay a visit. So my mom and dad are chatting with them about old times, and I'm hanging around listening. I'm only 24, so this is the first time I've ever met Bob and Jane. Eventually, the conversation shifts to video games. "Oh yeah," I say, "I've heard all about the Bob controller." My mother's face goes pale. "Oh? By the what?" Bob says. For some reason, my brain short circuits and I start fumbling through sentences, trying to further explain my parents' joke and how they used to tease us about our Bob controllers. The whole time, my mother's eyes keep widening. I keep hoping a bottle hook will appear and yank me off of this horrible stage I've put myself on. My mom's expression is flaming. She is standing behind Bob and actively shaking her head like, "Please, for the love of everything, stop talking." At this point, my dad has abandoned ship and is poking at his finished carpentry project like maybe he can find something else to sand to get him out of this situation. I eventually contain my word vomit, and Bob and Jane look at Mom for an explanation. To her credit, she fully owned up to the joke and explained it. They all uncomfortably laugh and move on with the conversation while I shrink back into the house. To spare my life, I dodge my mother the next day and fly down the highway back to my college town without bringing it up. Anyway, always clarify to your kids what's an inside joke between you as a couple. They just might meet Bob one day. TLDR, my parents used to make jokes that any broken controller was a Bob controller. I brought it up in front of Bob. Bob didn't know.
TIFU by drinking too much and drinking a bottle of magnesium citrate. So no shit, there I was. My buddy is in town for the weekend, so we obviously decide to consume copious amounts of alcohol and catch up on old times. It all started on Thursday night. We went to a local beer garden, ate some delicious pizza, and drank some lovely tasting beers. A little side note, I'm lactose intolerant, but Mama didn't raise no bitch, so I crushed my pizza and decided to worry about the consequences later. After a few hours of guzzling beer, my wife takes us home and we do a few shots and finally go to bed. Friday morning rolls into town like Miley Cyrus on a wrecking ball. Again, Mama didn't raise no bitch, so we went and got brunch, which obviously had miasomnis. Now, usually, after eating some form of dairy, I would have either horrible farts or horrible shots or both. Well, neither of those happened yet. So we continue to day drink, eating snacks here and there to keep us going, and we make the wonderful decision to go to Nashville Friday night. If you've been to Nashville, you know it's a great time, but it can be short night depending on quick you want to get back to your bed. So we catch an Uber to Nashville, bar hop till about 2:30, catch an Uber home, and realize we need to put the brisket in the smoker. So what do you know, we drink some more. Fast forward to Saturday night, we're still drinking. I'm bloated past the point to where I can't see my crown jewels. I've got the meat sweats, and my stomach is rumbling like the thunder from the Garth Brooks song. Sunday morning, the room is spinning. I feel like I've been hit by 2 trains, but my lovely wife made us breakfast. It was cheesy eggs, oh boy fuck me. I think she didn't it on purpose, actually I'm sure of it, just so she could get a quick laugh on my behalf. We finally drop him off at the airport that afternoon. I tell my wife I need to pound a bottle of magnesium citrate so I can cleanse the demons from my innards. So I chug the purest cherry-tasting liquid and ask sweet baby Jesus to have mercy on my asshole. Mercy was not given. I'm 2 boxes short. My asshole is raw. I've gone through a roll of toilet paper, and I'm currently on my 6th exorcism while I type this nonsense up. I'm afraid to fart because I don't want to lose another pair of boxers. My cat is trying to claim the shower curtain as his lair, and I can't stop him because my ass looks like a muddy field after a long-rain storm. 1010 would recommend. TLDR, drank too much alcohol, ate too much dairy, I'm lactose intolerant, got the meat sweats, then decided it was best to drink magnesium citrate to expel the demons from me.
TIFU by folding my boyfriend's laundry in the dark. The other day, my boyfriend was at the mall, and he called to ask if I wanted anything while he was there. I was out of lotion, so I asked him to stop by Bath and Body Works to get me some of that good shea butter that comes in those little round tubs. He asked a B&BW employee for just that and came home with his purchase. It was not the shea butter. It was a product I had never used before, whipped lotion. Oh well, I thought, probably just as good. Later that night I did his laundry, took a shower, lathered the lotion all over me as I got out. I went to go fold his clothes. It was already 2 a.m. and he was fast asleep. I set about folding his work clothes under some dim lighting as to not disturb him. As I went to hang his nice shirts, I turned on the closet light. That's when I noticed. I was covered in glitter. Not just a little bit either. It looked like I had walked through an accident at the glitter factory. I couldn't figure out why until I remembered the new lotion. Upon inspection, it was clearly the culprit. Here's where the panic set in. I had just handled all of his clothes with my very glittery hands. I went to the other room and turned the lights on full brightness. My fear came to be true. His clothes were all shimmering with glitter. There was no saving it now. I didn't have time to run it through the wash again. He's a very blue-collar tradesman, and he now had to show up to work looking like a diva leaving a rave. Unlucky that he found it funny, but I still feel awful. I doubt we'll ever be able to get all the glitter out. I'm sorry, honey. At least you'll stand out from your coworkers. Edit, for all of you asking about his coworkers' reactions, here were a few of my favorites. The first guy who noticed gave him a hot damn whistle. His gay coworker jokingly got upset that he missed my BF's coming out party. And one client, who was a mom with a toddler, kept trying to offer him wet wipes or to run his clothes through the wash. He said she seemed very bothered that she couldn't clean me, huh? TLDR, I used a new lotion before folding my BF's work clothes in the dark. The new lotion was full of glitter, and now so are his clothes. How could I not have noticed while rubbing the lotion on? I'm sorry, sweetheart. At least you look pretty.
What other subreddits would you like to hear stories from? Let me know in the comments.